Now, especially if you're just getting started dividend investing, this video is going to be extremely helpful for you because I'm going to be going over a very simple yet effective 4 ETF portfolio that's going to offer an investor the potential for massive growth potential, but also this portfolio is going to pay you a ton of income from day one. Now, with so many great ETFs out there these days throughout the market, there really is the possibility of building a very simple yet effective portfolio with just a few ETFs within it. And I'm going to share with you exactly what that could look like in today's video. Now, because I've been dividend investing for about a decade, I often get asked the same question. That is, if you could start over today, knowing what you know now, what would you do? How would your portfolio look? And honestly, this would be a great start on building a foundation in a very strong long-term portfolio, in my opinion. So if you want to see which 4 ETFs I would choose for a very simple growth and income-oriented portfolio all in one, then definitely stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has already helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker, the one I use all the time on my videos, has also helped so many investors stay organized and has actually helped them see their dividend income grow. Well, today I have something even better for you guys. When you click the first link down below in my description and you grab my A to Z dividend investing ebook, today you're not only going to get the ebook, but you're also going to be getting the custom dividend tracker, which you can use to track your own dividend income ongoingly, get direct access to my personal email where you guys can email me any questions regarding dividend investing. You're also going to receive a link to view all of my holdings inside my 7-figure dividend portfolio and see all the positions I add and take away ongoingly. And you're going to get for absolutely free my brand new high yield dividend investing ebook where I show you the power of maximizing some of these high yielding ETFs and teach you everything there is to know about that also. This is going to be your one shot to grab everything inside of one single bundle, but you got to move quick because I'm not going to offer this for long. Now with all that, let's get back into the video. Now this 4 ETF portfolio that's going to be very simple yet very effective would have half of the portfolio much more growth oriented and then half of the portfolio much more income oriented. The first ETF being the Investco QQQ, which since 1999 this ETF has demonstrated a history of outperformance. Typically being the S&P 500 index, the Qs have offered around 1,200 to almost 1,300% return, where the S&P 500 in this time frame around 745%. Now, the reason I would add QQQ to my portfolio is because over the next, say, 5, 10, 20 years, I literally think this ETF is still going to outperform pretty much everything around it. Now, that's simply because the holdings inside of this ETF, remember, this is a growth-oriented ETF, so there's no cover call overlay, there's no kept upside, just pure growth names like Microsoft, like Nvidia, like Apple, like Amazon, some of the best and biggest companies in the world that have a massive runway still for growth, in my opinion. Now, this ETF, of course, tracks the NASDAQ 100 index. I'm a huge fan of index-based ETFs, whether that's the NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500. I truly think that especially if you're a newer investor, that's a great place to look into to start. Now, the NASDAQ 100 gives you access to the performance of the 100 largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ. The fund and the index are rebalanced quarterly and reconstituted annually. So this ETF, without a doubt, would make up 1/4 of the entire portfolio. Again, a very simple yet effective 4 ETF portfolio. But now let's talk about some income generation. Now, because I said I'm a big fan of index-based ETFs, that's also going to mean index-based high-income ETFs, which means the NEOS NASDAQ 100 high-income ETF, which also offers NASDAQ 100 exposure, which I just shared with you I'm a huge fan of, but this time through a high-income strategy with the use of a covered call option strategy. Now, the NEOS NASDAQ 100 high-income ETF, the fund seeks to generate high monthly income in a tax-efficient manner with the potential for equity appreciation. This ETF offers a 14.31% distribution rate. Now, this ETF next to the Investco QQQ is not going to look the same whatsoever as far as price performance goes, but over time this ETF hopefully will somewhat keep up with the total returns that the NASDAQ offers. But either way, this ETF is going to pay you around 60 cents per share per month, or at least it's what it's done historically. Not saying it's going to do so for certain in the future, but this ETF has offered very high quality NASDAQ 100 high income generation and would definitely make up the next 25% of this 4 ETF portfolio. Now, another ETF that I would have in this very simple yet effective 4 ETF portfolio would be the Vanguard S&P 500. And this is simply because, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the indexes. S&P 500 index is what you're getting exposure to with this one. Now, the S&P 500 represents 500 of the largest US companies. Again, especially if you're trying to build a very simple yet effective portfolio, why recreate the wheel? Why not just pick some of the best ETFs that have exposure to some of the best and biggest companies? Now, VU only has like a 1.1% yield. This ETF is not going to pay you much as far as distributions go. But if we look at the total return since inception, this is since 2010, 727%. This ETF has grown like crazy, obviously because the S&P 500 is full of some of the best names across the entire market. Now, even with VU, we still need one more piece of the pie for this entire portfolio to really squeeze out a little bit more high income, which is why the last piece of the pie would be SPYI, or the NEO's S&P 500 high income ETF. This ETF is my personal favorite high income ETF across the entire market. It offers you S&P 500 exposure, which is my favorite index, and it offers you this through a high income strategy. Distribution rates are around 12%, not bad whatsoever. And once again, this ETF offers you S&P 500 exposure, but high income by implementing a data-driven call option strategy. Now, this ETF is going to offer some tax efficiency with the use of return of capital and other things. It's going to offer you pretty consistent distributions, at least if history were to rewrite itself, and it's going to offer you total returns very close to the S&P 500, generally speaking. So building out an effective high income and growth portfolio is simply as easy as that. 4 ETFs, 2 of them that offer index exposure and tons of growth, and 2 of them that offer index exposure and a ton of income generation. Now, let's be real, when I first started investing, it was a very different landscape 10 years ago. Lots of these ETFs you can see on the screen were not even born yet. But these days, with so many great options, you really have no excuse to not build a high quality portfolio that matches everything you're looking for right from day one. Now, before I go, I have a question for you guys down below. Out of all the different dividend ETFs across the market these days, what's your number one favorite and why? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like in it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.